everyone and welcome to my channel. Today things are going to get a little weird. I'm trying a new setup here, so my eyes are going to be wandering all over the place because my script is down here, my camera's up here, my mind is over there. I'm Aaron Dusk, self-published author of 2 books, The Mark of Amuli and The Varcross Key, so if you are into that sort of thing, go check them out in the description below. Today I'm going to be discussing things that I'm not quite into, most notably characters that I can't stand and very few people can stand as well. And I'm really not entirely sure why they're so popular. Maybe you like these types of characters and you are more than free to be completely wrong. So grab your torches and your pitchforks and I'm going to get to pissing some people off. So the first character that really gets on my nerves is the toxic alpha male character. And this is common in a lot of romance and erotica novels. Sometimes, I see it a lot in gay romance and erotica too, but it's mostly straight romance and erotica. In fact, most of the authors writing these books get so creative they usually put alpha right on the title of the book. This is a man who is the center of attention. He's a 6'7" Chad with a 10-inch cock, chiseled jaw, rippling muscles, and a tragic childhood. He's also one of the most toxic and insufferable motherfuckers to ever come out of one of Colleen Hoover's wettest fantasies. He's the guy that wears the vest of spikes, impales his love interest with it, and then gaslights her into thinking she's the problem. But it doesn't matter because she can usually fix him by the end of the story. Only he really doesn't grow or learn anything as a character. He's just put there to be a tragic and sexually aggressive, but in a hot way, a character, which is needed for a predictable breakup and get back together later in the book sort of plot. God, as I'm reading this, I'm realizing just how much romance as a genre sucks. The next character is the girl boss. Now we can't have a most hated characters list without including one of these token societal overcorrections. The only thing that separates these characters from the typical Mary Sue is she ain't nobody's love interest, unless it's another woman, of course. But even then, they're usually written by straight women or straight men, and none of them seem to have a fucking clue what an actual lesbian romance really is outside of softcore porn or those awkward Disney characters that we saw recently.
The power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
Honestly, have none of you ever hung out with lesbians before? Have none of you ever had really good barbecue? You don't know what you're missing. Now this character is usually 95 pounds of pure awesome. She can become a master of magic and weapon, or any kind of weapon after just 1 or 2 lessons. She's literally the smartest person in the room. She can take down a whole group of 200-pound men in seconds. And she can win any arm wrestling match, but men in these stories are usually nerfed to the point of irrelevance in order to make her look even more superior. Also, by the end of the book or movie, she's exactly the same person she was when the story started. It's just everyone around her that's been affected or changed by the main character, and usually for the worse. Because remember, this character is the absolute center of the universe. There is nobody more important than the girl boss. Everything revolves around her. Everyone hates this type of character. Even the very demographic that this character tends to pander to is growing irritated by these boring one-dimensional wastes of time. Stop writing them. And the next most hated character is the absolutely useless male character. This is actually more prevalent in modern movies and TV shows than in books, or maybe I'm just illiterate and haven't read enough of the modern books today. But this kind of goes hand in hand with the girl boss. These characters are usually white and straight, but every now and then you'll see someone a little less melanin challenged and a little less dick in mouth challenged. Yeah, we're just gonna go with that. The sole purpose of their existence is just to fuck up so bad that the strong female protagonist has to save them and clean up their messes. Kind of like a damsel in distress, but in reverse, and somehow dumber. They make decisions that no person with 2 brain cells to rub together would ever make, all for the sake of a weak plot progression, while giving more validity to an overwhelmingly weak and meaningless main character. If the guy is lucky enough to be the love interest or a semi-important side character, they'll just bumble around as comic relief for a little while. And if they aren't, they usually end up red-shirted because the hacks for writers have usually exhausted what little nuggets of creativity they had left in order to make sure that the Mary Sue girl boss character uses that tragedy to actually level up some more. So the next character that I absolutely hate and just cannot stand is the typical dude bro character. Okay, let's get one thing out of the way here. I'm not a straight guy. I know, Operation Shock and Awe there. But I have way more straight male friends than I do gay friends, and I can honestly say that there's a lot more to straight guys than drinking beer, ogling titties, and watching sports. Okay, granted, there's not a whole lot more to that, but straight men can surprise you in a lot of ways, and they're a hell of a lot more complex than they're given credit for or that they're portrayed as in most media. You know, they actually have hobbies outside of what's considered, the average male interests. One of my straight male friends loved riding bicycles, building Lego sets with his kids, and taking his wife to nice restaurants without being told to do it, anytime they had a moment. Another straight, male friend of mine was best friends with his wife, and they do just about anything together, including climbing mountains. But you'd look at him and think, wow, he's pretty much a dude. He also likes sports and, drink. Well, he used to drink beer, doesn't drink beer anymore. But he seems like just the typical straight guy with a wife and whatever. But no, there's a lot more to him than that. There's a lot more complexity to him than that. He and I have gotten into very intellectual, and political debates and stuff like that. He's just a very great person to talk to. So now let's get to the dude bro character. Now this character is so devoid of dimension that he actually doesn't exist. He's the guy that only exists to badmouth his wife/girlfriend. He has no hobbies or interests outside of watching sports or, grilling meat. He's the quintessential selfish lover that finishes first and falls asleep. And he's always got an offhanded sexist joke to tell while making sure to grab a handful of ass at the passing Hooters waitress. I'm sorry, but while straight men aren't exactly the deepest end of the kiddie pool, they are not blatantly stereotypical like this. Yes, people find Al Bundy type characters kind of funny, but they grate on my nerves really fucking fast. And of course, we cannot talk about terrible, horrible characters that I hate without discussing the infamous Mary Sue. The Mary Sue is usually more common in fan fiction, which is forgivable because a lot of times people just use fan fiction as a way to write themselves into a beloved piece of media. However, when books and movies do this, I immediately lose interest. The Mary Sue kind of parallels the girl boss in a way, except she's so incredibly attractive that she's the love interest of at least two guys. Sometimes more, depending on what shape your love story is. Are you writing a love triangle or a love dodecahedron? There are just so many dicks to suck and so little leeway given in publisher word count requirements. Unless, of course, you're Sarah J. Maas writing literal tomes of smut disguised as fantasy. Off the topic for a bit, you go girl. You achieved with long, turgid fey cock what I want to achieve with monsters. You may not have paved the way like Anne Rice did, but you certainly made it easier to talk about what I do without wanting to shrivel up and die of embarrassment. So kudos, let's work together to make this world a more horny place. So yeah, back to Mary Sue's. Everyone hates them except the people writing them, so, stop. This next one on the list is not so much a character that I hate, they just start to wear on my nerves really fast. And that would be the insufferable brooding character. So here's the point of the video where I start to piss a lot of people off. But here goes. Think of Kaladin Stormblessed in Way of Kings, Harry Potter in the later books, Geralt of Rivia from the Witcher games, Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption. The list goes on. I both love and hate these characters. I love them because they usually have very rich backstories. Okay, maybe not so much Harry Potter. So there's usually a reason why they're this persistent black cloud in just about every scene they're in. This kind of makes the lighthearted scenes with these characters that much more enjoyable, just because I want the seriousness to stop. And I hate these characters because I just want the seriousness to stop. The closest I've come to writing a character like this would be Vence from the Varcross Key. But there are so many funny moments with him that kind of make his personality more bearable, at least in my opinion. Some of the Vence haters out there will disagree, but once again, it's okay to be completely wrong. Aside from Harry Potter and half of the Stormlight Archive, I actually enjoyed the characters mentioned above. Or at least I enjoyed the stories they were a part of, because there was always this one character to counterbalance the main character's pissy mood. Geralt had Dandelion. Kaladin had Rock, kind of. That character was unique in the way that he was lighthearted and at times funny. There is really no part of a Brandon Sanderson book that has ever made me laugh. He's got that Reddit humor that it doesn't quite land, at least with me anyways. Just about every character in The Way of Kings was so miserable that Rock was really the only memorable side character in there. And Arthur Morgan had... fuck if I remember. The point is, usually these types of characters are endearing because they were friends with a more endearing character that brought out more of their personality than just scene after scene of self-pity, edgy insults, and wishing everyone would just leave them alone. There are probably other character types that I really hate, but I didn't hate them enough to put them on this list, so chances are, at least for the moment, I can kind of tolerate them. Everything else on this list, aside from the Brooding character, is absolute garbage. If I see them, it's an automatic 1-star DNF. They are awful, and if you write these characters, you're awful too. Okay, maybe you aren't an awful person, but I'm going to be thinking it. Anyways, this video was short and sweet. That's really all I have for today. After everything going on lately, I just decided to make something a little more lighthearted. And if you are at all offended or angry at this video, well, that's your problem. Go be offended somewhere else, or leave a shitty comment below to boost my engagement to tickle YouTube's little algorithmic taint. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, tell me how devilishly handsome I am, even if you're straight up lying. I'll appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you next time.
Thanks for the memory of rainy afternoons, swingy Harlem tunes, motor trips and burning lips and burning toast and prunes.
How lovely it was. Thanks for the memory